The biggest card show in the world is just a few days away. And today, we're going to talk about 10 tips and tricks you need to know.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
That's not something you see every day, but only at trade night. Mr. Trevor Lawrence.
How we doing?
This is out of this world. Today is definitely the craziest day ever at a card show. A lot of time ahead and a lot of opportunity to make this place special every day. So, all right, what's going on YouTube? Card Collector 2 coming at you here with a brand new video. And today we are back again with a new video, this time just a few days away from the National. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Some of the most popular questions we get all year across our social channels are around the National, the biggest card show in the world, the biggest sports card event there is. A lot of the questions are, what to do, where, what, when, how, etc. So we figured we'd make a video today talking about that, but really just 10 tips and tricks. We've done a lot of this content in the past, and a lot of those answers will still remain the same. So if you're looking for a more in-depth discussion around the National, just know we have done this year after year after year, again, in a more in-depth breakdown. So if you want to check those out, the links will be down below. There's an entire playlist on our channel talking about the National. But this one, I figured I would give you guys some tips and tricks before the show in a more condensed version. So we're going to go through here. Some of these will be tips, some of these will be answering questions, but I've got 10 things to talk about here. So the most easy and obvious answer for this, again, if you've never been, this is my 15th National in a row. They didn't have it in 2020, and the first one I went to was in 2009, so this will be year 15. The best advice I could give you is wear comfortable shoes. That is hands down, without a doubt, the most sound advice I can give you. This is typically a lot of concrete, usually not padded or carpeted. Wear comfortable shoes. It's a lot of walking. This is a big space. These are massive venues. I think the IX Center is an old airport hangar, if I'm not mistaken. Massive space. These are really big venues. So be prepared. You're gonna walk. May not be tables or chairs to sit at a particular time. Should be plenty of seating, but for some reason, you got to have comfortable shoes. That is the first tip and trick. Again, certainly the easiest, but again, the most sound advice I can give is around that. Second one, bring snacks, drinks, supplies, light stuff, but things that are likely going to cost way more money at the show that you could be prepared and bring in advance, right? Granola bars, bottle of water, supplies. A lot of the things we used to use, like when it was just me back in the day, like the 100 count snap tights, 50 count snap tights, a pack of top loaders, a pack of soft sleeves. We'll get into it here in a second, but should you go to the Topps booth or the Panini booth or Wild Card or any of these other booths, Leaf, any of the other ones, and get any of the silver packs, the National exclusive stuff, and you hit a really cool card and you don't have something to put it in, you're going to pay a premium for top loaders or supplies on the show floor. These are not your affordable top loader prices. They're typically a little bit more expensive. Now that's changed over the years, but in the past I just remember having to pay like $12 for a pack of top loaders. Again, things are different now, so this might not be as applicable. But again, just as someone who's been to 15 of these or 14 of these now, this will be 15. That's one of the things I always recommend is grab a snap tight for 100 count. They don't cost they can't cost more than a few dollars. A pack of top loaders, pack of soft sleeves, or granola bar, bottle of water, throw those in your bag. Not super expensive, not a bunch of extra weight. Again, that's what you're looking to avoid here is the more weight you have, and if you're walking around for multiple days, it can be a little rough carrying all of that around. So just something to keep in mind. The next one is going to be trade nights. This is definitely the question we get asked about the most, having been a part of some of the biggest trade nights in the sports card space at the National. This is really the highlight of our trip, is the trade nights. This year it'll be a little different. Again, we have an entire video on trade nights. So if you're looking for a real long, lengthy, in-depth discussion on trade night. There is a video down below. We've done this, but just know there are a lot of trade nights. The National will have 3 nights exclusively this year at the show floor. Again, it's going to be under the show floor. It'll be downstairs. It's 44,000 square feet. There's a specific entrance to get on there, to get down there. It will be a massive space. There will be rip parties, like ripping during that, with free break spots given away, $10,000 plus. I know there will be athletes there. Again, we mentioned Doc Gooden will be there one night. There'll be that's just on Thursday night when we're hosting, myself and Jimmy, Kentucky Basketball Cards, and his shops. We'll be hosting it Thursday night. There'll be other hosts on Friday and Saturday night as well. But massive, massive space. Thousands of collectors wheeling and dealing after the show. These are really, they're a big part of this show. The show is amazing, but trade nights are definitely a different animal. They're a lot of fun and will be packed. Again, Friday night, Saturday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, 6 to 11 p.m. under the show floor. Again, in the basement, IX Center, 44,000 square feet, massive space. Now, I mentioned there's a separate entrance for that, and you can find that entrance and a lot more. We'll talk about it here in a second, but I will hint at this now. There is, if you go to the nsccshow.com, the national website, if you hover over Cleveland 2024, the second one down says New Interactive Map. If you click on that, it will show you the map of the show floor. You can actually use your mouse and drag around, but you'll notice the trade night entrance is basically in the top right corner near PSA. If you see that up there, it says trade night entrance. But you can also click on those. We'll get to it in a second, but you can click on dealers on booth numbers and it'll tell you who is at that space. We'll get into that in a second, but if you use that map, it will tell you where the trade night entrance will be. So something to keep in mind. Again, get there early. If you are looking to get a seat, last year we had it was like right around 6,000 people in trade night. The space was massive. Chicago had a really big venue. It was massive, and there was still a line even with nearly 6,000 people in there. Michael Rubin was there last year. It was a great time. It was amazing, but there was still a line to get in. It will be busy. There's no doubt about it. Thankfully, this year there are multiple nights hosted by the National. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there will be multiple times to try to get to trade night. But please understand that these are very populated events. There will be a lot of people. So if you are looking to get a seat, the earlier the better. You should get in line. That is just a tip I would tell you. I realize not everybody's dying to get in, but there will be a lot of people, and there's a limited number of space. And then once the room is full, it'll be as people leave, people can come in. So just keep that in mind in your game plan, that trade night will be busy. There's no doubt about it. But again, on that same discussion, right? Have a game plan for trade night. Have a game plan for the show, right? You just never know what to expect at the National. I've been to 14 of these. It is massive. You walk in there, I walk in there, and I'm overwhelmed. And I've been to a lot of them. I've been to Cleveland. I've been to Atlantic City. I've been to Baltimore, to Chicago. They've been all over. And the one thing I say is every time I walk in, I'm overwhelmed. It is massive. These are huge, huge buildings with anyone and everyone and cards, and it is a great time for a long time. This is multiple days, so it's a lot of fun. So when you go in there, having a plan is super helpful. Do you know what your cards are worth, right? One of the things we'll get on here in a second is talking with dealers. If you go up to the dealer and want to trade for something or want to sell, and you have a 2-row box and you have no idea what any of your cards are worth, and the internet's a little shaky, then what, right? Then how are you looking to make deals? And then dealers got to look them all up, and that just takes time. And I'm not saying you don't have time. Dealer might be super free. Dealer might be super busy, right? The one thing I can tell you, we will be there, and if we're trying to make a purchase, it's always easier when we have an idea of what something is worth. Just with the amount of people that will be there and the amount of dealing, it's just hard to sit there and look up 500 cards, 50 cards. I mean, it takes time. That is one thing I always recommend, is having an idea of what you want for your cards. You can always, go down from there, but at least if you have an idea what it's worth, it will make your life easier, especially if there's no internet. Again, have an idea of what you're looking for. There's an old saying that if you can't find it at the National, they probably didn't make it. There's everything there. There's so much stuff. Have an idea of what you're going in for, looking for. Like, are you looking to add some stuff to flip, some stuff to grade, a grail card for your PC? Because you walk in that show floor with bunch of different sports cards from anyone and everyone. You walk in and the first table is going to have something really cool, and you're going to go 5 or 6 tables in and be out of money or be completely off track, and that happens. And know that going in. But that game plan will definitely make your life easier. And again, just not sure on the Wi-Fi. It's been okay in Chicago. Atlantic City was a little rough. It just varies. So if the Wi-Fi is not good, having an idea of what you're looking for, like have a notepad. I think, have a notepad on your phone. I use that all the time. Sometimes you can text yourself. Like I'll text myself like, hey, look for these, and these today. That same tip and trick works for like when you're trying to find a card. That's one of the advice we always give going to the Nationals. Like if you're going to the show and you see a card you really like, write down the booth number, put down what it's near. You can take a photo of that and text it to yourself. So take a photo of the booth and say, hey, this is where this Jerry Rice and Randy Moss dual auto was for $1,000. That way when you're looking later, if you're like, you know what, I want that card, you have an idea of where it is. The show is massive. Again, that will be the continuing theme, and this is a big show. It's the show. It's the mecca of sports cards. So having that kind of note or those kind of things, the text, the notepad, those things will make your life easier, especially if there's no Wi-Fi. The other thing, national exclusives. This is always a big question. What are these companies doing? How do I get them? How do I get involved? A lot of these answers fluctuate year over year. The first time I ever went to a Panini National VIP party was in Chicago. I think it was 2016. It was at Soldier Field. You got gold packs at the show. Now they mail them out afterwards. I've never been to a Topps VIP party. I don't know if they have one. But I know that they're a big part of the show. These exclusive packs they have there. You've seen them on our channel before. We had a Corbin Carroll Super last year. We had a Drew Aller Super. We ripped a ton of those packs. We spent a lot of money to get them. They are not necessarily cheap, but there's some cool stuff, and they will be in demand. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're always in demand at these shows. That is not anything new. They're really, really fun, and they're a big part of the show experience. But those details have yet to be released. At least I have not seen them. This video is being recorded a few days before it comes out, so that could change by the time this video drops. But typically these companies will release that information. How you can get them, where you can buy the product to get them from. This is not information they're trying to hold back. So if you're looking for information from Leaf or Wildcard or Panini or Topps or any of the manufacturers on where to get them, just know they will make that readily available. They will have it at their booth. It will not be hidden on how you get those things. So if you're looking for that info, look no further than the companies. But understand, typically for wrapper redemptions for Panini and Topps, those are the ones I've participated the most in the past. There's normally lines. There's normally specific times they do those things. It's not typically a 24/7 come get them. There's unlimited packs. It's normally there's this many packs per day. That's not usually disclosed, but it's this time from this time until they while supplies last. And again, you can buy product from. It's normally the big companies like Blowout, Steel City, Dave and Adams, others, but that's normally how it works. So again, keep in mind that those companies will release that information, but like Trade Night, these are a big part of the show experience. They will be in demand. So it's not, I just don't want to set expectations. Again, just from my past 14 shows, it could be very different this year, but understand it's not normally one person waiting in line to get Panini or Topps or Leaf redemption packs. It's normally a few more than that, and they're pretty in demand. I know we will be looking to purchase some and make some exclusive content this year, so hopefully we'll get those. But in terms of other national exclusive type things, Kids Breaks is always a popular one. Shout out to Panini. I know they've done this for a long time. They're always a good time. I've never joined one. Obviously, I'm not a kid, so I don't know exactly how they work, but I think they usually give away spots at their booth. Again, specific times, specific days, but again, that information will be available. I would recommend stopping by those booths at the show to learn way more. But those things do happen. Free Kids Breaks with Panini. And then again, there's tons of other cool exclusive stuff. There are major companies here. We will be set up. We'll get into that in a second. We will be set up, but there will be a lot of cool exclusive things from a lot of these different companies. I would encourage you to check a lot of them out. There will be plenty of those things available. Again, Panini and Topps are typically the ones I've done the most with in the past in terms of getting the silver packs from both. Go back through the videos on our channel. You will see plenty of ripping X amount of silver, X amount of gold. That is a big part of the show. So it's something I've looked forward to for a decade, a decade and a half now. So something I will definitely be looking forward to this time as well. How much money should I bring? This is a popular question. I always say $1 million. That's the right answer. But no, there is not a set answer on this. I give the same answer every time. It's usually a more obscure number, but there's no right or wrong answer. That is just based on what you can afford to spend. I always say, take what you're willing to spend and take what you're willing to get rid of from cards. If you take some PC cards in there and you're like hesitant on, I don't really think I want to move these, you're going to go in there and see something so cool, and a dealer's going to be like, this is really cool, how much for it? And then every dealer is going to ask about it, and if you don't want to move it, you might be, persuaded to move it. You might be tempted to move it in a bigger deal. So I typically say if there's something you don't want to move, I wouldn't recommend putting that in a box you show to dealers or to people to trade at trade nights. I wouldn't typically recommend that. So I wouldn't bring things you don't want to move, and I wouldn't bring money you can't afford to spend. If rent is due the day after the National and you have $1,000 and rent is $700, I probably wouldn't bring $1,000. I'd probably have rent paid for it. Again, I'm not here to give financial advice. That's not the nature of our channel, but you'll know how much you can spend. There's a lot of things to buy in this. This is the mecca of sports cards. I can't emphasize that enough. It is a great time. There's a lot of cool stuff here. There's a lot to do, a lot to see. And even we'll go all the days and we won't be able to see it all, right? That's just the nature of this show. It is so much fun. I just can't overstate that. So if you bring $500, could you spend $500? Yeah, absolutely. You could spend it all in one day. You could spend it all at one table. It's not impossible. So that answer is certainly more personal based and based on what you think you can afford. But that would be the advice: is don't bring money you can't afford to spend, and don't bring cards you don't want to trade or don't want to lose. That would be some of my advice there. Like, where can I find someone? So a couple different ways. First off, we will be set up. I've addressed that before. We will be set up this year in the Breakers Pavilion. Biggest thing for us in the Breakers Pavilion, biggest thing about the Breakers Pavilion, it is in the door straight to the left against that wall near the Autograph Pavilion. You can't sell singles in the Breakers Pavilion, so we will not have any single trading cards for sale. There's plenty of other things you can do there: live breaks, giveaways, buy, interact. Like there's a lot of other things to do there. But how do you find someone? I mentioned it earlier, but nsccshow.com. Hover over Cleveland 2024, click on interactive map. You can type in and search for someone. Like, you can search for Card Collector 2. You can search for anyone else you want to look for set up at all. You could also shoot them a message on any of their socials. But that is the easiest way to find someone. Again, we will be set up. Booth number is, let me double check this. These numbers always escape me. I think it's 7012 and 7113. But what I don't want to do is give somebody the wrong numbers. 7012 and 7113. Again, down in the Case Break Pavilion near the Autograph, the TriStar Autograph Pavilion. So some of the bigger booths around us will be, again, a lot of breakers down there, but you'll have like Zion Case will be down there. It's going to be back near some of the grading, like Beckett will be down there. Alt, Pristine Auction, Sports Card Investor, ComC, SGC, CGC, stuff like that. Back in that north, you go in the door and it's on the left, just based on where they have the entrance here. So not super close necessarily to the show, to the like buying and selling right when you walk in. Gonna have to walk a little bit, but again, if you want to find someone, that's where I would recommend going. Is nsccshow.com. Hover over Cleveland 24 and click on interactive map. Differences in Cleveland versus Chicago. This was a popular question. The nice thing about Chicago, I will say, is the proximity to other hotels makes the social aspect of the show really fun. You walk out of Chicago and you can, it's 150 yards to really any hotel, and there's 5 or 6 nearby. That's the difference with the biggest difference in Cleveland is it's a lot more travel time. There's not 5 hotels within 100 yards of each other, so a little bit more travel time there. The venue is really, really big. It's humongous. Definitely a really good sized venue. But I think that's probably the biggest difference is the travel time. So just plan accordingly. There's going to be a lot of people trying to get in. There will be traffic. There will be lines. Just have that included in your time. That you're just not going to be able to walk across the street to go to a trade night or walk. Thankfully, the trade nights hosted by the National will be in the same venue, so you won't have to travel for those. That will definitely be nice for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But just know the other things, dinner, hotels, stuff like that will require a little bit more travel than we might expect in something like Chicago. So a lot of the questions we got were, how do we deal with dealers? So this is really like any show. Some people ask, like, will dealers be super high comped? Will dealers not want to buy my stuff? It's really just a case-by-case basis. It's a lot you get at a lot of shows. Some dealers are really great to deal with and want to pay more and are easy and it's not super complicated. Some dealers might not be looking to buy. Some dealers don't want to trade. Some dealers might be cranky. Like, it's no different than any other show. It is expensive to set up at. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a huge time commitment, huge resource commitment, for sure. But you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Like, you might be super nice and have all your cards priced and be approachable, and the dealer might not be having a bad day. Don't take it personal. Just understand there's plenty of people to deal with there. A lot of people be looking to make trades and buy and sell, etc. So, again, one of the things I had on here is have prices for what you want. I will tell you that makes life so much easier. We get asked a lot, hey, do you want to buy this? And the pricing is the easiest. Like, we can make a decision pretty quickly based on the price. So I know a lot of other dealers would probably tell you the same thing. And again, you just don't know if a dealer will have a lot of traffic or a little traffic. And if they have a lot of people looking to buy and sell and trade, and you don't have any idea on pricing, just slows down the process. Again, personal experience. Some people will give you completely different advice. That would be my advice. Then I think one other thing is we get asked a lot about grading, like, hey, how do I grade cards there? A lot of these companies, very similar to the advice I would give on Topps and Panini and Leaf and Wildcard and all of the manufacturers, is a lot of those companies are just going to have very different promotions, different times, different ways. PSA, BGS, CGC, SGC, all those companies will have different pricing and turnaround times and rules and restrictions, and it's all going to be a case-by-case basis thing. But those companies are going to be very clear about what they are offering, the pricing, the turnaround. That's not going to be hidden. Those companies are looking to go there, expand their customer base, meet customers, grade cards. Like, that is not going to be new. So while I don't have all of the pricing in front of me, I will tell you those guys are looking to grade cards. They're looking for, they are going there to conduct business and, again, grow their audience. So I don't want to speak for any of them, but just know if you're looking for that kind of information, check them out on social, check out their websites. Like, again, there's a lot of different options for grading, but I would imagine all of them, any and all of the big players will be there on the show floor. We'll have grading options during the show, day of, etc. They will have those available. So make sure you check with each individual company, but that will be your best place to go for how do I grade a card with, enter this grading company. The last tip, trick, etc. Would be have fun. This is the Super Bowl for sports cards. It is the best. It will come, it will go, and we will wait 365 days to do it all over again. I have been fortunate enough to not miss a national since 2009, and it is one of the highlights of my year. I am very fortunate to be able to do this as a career. I love this hobby. I love waking up every day, buying and selling trading cards, and building a business with people I really care about. The National is the highlight of the year in the sports card world. It is worth going to. It is an amazing time, and it is a lot of fun. Attend trade nights. Pick up a grail. Meet somebody that you interact with online on a daily basis. Social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Discord. Those are a big part of the sports card hobby now. There's no doubt about that, right? None at all. Meet someone that you talk with and you make trades with on a daily basis. I've met thousands of people we interact with and we make trades with and we talk with and message on a daily basis. I met a bunch of those people online, and it's a big part of the show, and that's what makes it fun. Buying and selling cards is cool. The silver packs, those are a blast, but that's not the reason to attend the National. It is the people, it is the relationships, it is the experience. So again, just go into it. Again, I always say attend trade nights, even if you don't stay the whole time, if you don't go to every one, they're worth going to. They're fun. That is the best, to me, one of the best examples of community at the National is a trade night. They are worth going to. There's a lot of effort put into those. I would encourage you to attend one. Again, pick up a Grail. That would be always a goal of mine, is to pick up something I can add to the PC and say, I got that at this National. That was a lot of fun. But again, at the end of the day, regardless if those things happen, have fun, enjoy yourself. It will go by in the blink of an eye, and then we'll look back later and already be looking forward to 2025 in Chicago. So if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to reach out. If not, I hope to see you at our booth. We have some really, really cool stuff in the works. You will definitely want to check out the booth. We've got some cool things planned. But again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you guys are following. We have some big things planned, and I'm excited to share those with you. So if you subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Do not miss anything, because we will have some cool things planned during the entire week of the National. But for now, that is all I got, guys. Peace.